podcast, and in a continuation of last week's episode where we talked about LeBron, whether he's the GOAT or not, and I read the riot act for choosing him to be the GOAT, obviously, because that's just the way things work nowadays with these Jordan fans and their hypocrisy.
Oh, yeah. I see how it is. Just, did we hurt your little feelers, too?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I flopped all over the place. What can I say?
So you did learn a lot from LeBron, I guess.
But no, so we are back again. We are coming at you with our top 10 all-time players list.
In the NBA.
In the NBA, yeah, in the NBA.
In case it wasn't obvious.
So obviously we can expect guys like Greg Ostertag, Jeff Hornacek, Bobby Brown, and obviously I'm kidding. We are going to have much better names than that. But
Ohio's finest Greg Oden.
I should change my list real quick.
What was that, sorry?
I should change my list real quick, so I'm not supposed to have those names on there.
So Devin here is obviously forgot the memo that we were doing actual top 10s, not joking top 10s.
So we're going to give him a few minutes to fix his meme list really quick.
But that does bring us, Devin is again returning to the episode for this. If you haven't listened to any of our previous episodes, we do like to bring guests on too, especially NBA stuff. Devin is, we love to have him on for our NBA talks. And
he's the Chris Broussard of high-low, basically.
Well, that's giving credit to Chris Broussard. So I give Devin more credit than Chris Broussard.
You had to pick something. I mean, there's only so many to choose from. So you picked the worst of a bad situation.
What's the little chubby one who's friends with LeBron?
Oh, Brian Windhorst.
Yeah.
But that doesn't count.
Devin's like the Brian Windhorst, but not as chubby.
Or as little, or didn't kind of grow up in LeBron's nursery from grade school all the way with him.
Yeah, okay, you're way better than Brian Windhorst. I'm sorry, Brian.
Can we just move forward now? You're making this worse. Right. Devin, take it away. Your top 10 list.
Devin, what is your top 10 list? Give us your number 10.
And I apologize, he just insulted you like that.
Yeah. So
unless you want to make his money.
And, give reasons or just the list?
We'll go by the list and give the reasons. So we'll start at 10 and tell us why you put him there.
Okay. So I got go Oscar Robertson, Bucks triple-double machine, original triple-double machine.
Actual triple-double machine.
The not stat patty triple-double machine.
Yeah. But not when it was cool, triple-double guy. I had him at number 10.
Okay, I see Big O at 10. I like it.
Little low-hanging fruit there, but, no big deal.
I mean, I don't know.
I
was
was making
really
fun
hard.
of short.
I had him on my list, and then I had Chef Curry right next to it, and I couldn't decide who I wanted. I'm going with Oscar. I had to think about it for quite a while. I think Oscar, just what he did, kind of like what we went back to. I think Oscar in his prime, he just made his team better.
So you almost have like Steph Curry as your honorable mention, basically, is what it sounds like. And with his career going, he's probably going to take that spot anyway at some point.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
I just think what Oscar did was deserving of the 10th spot.
I can respect it.
Okay, so who do you have at number 9?
Okay. Number 9, I got Jim Duncan, fundamentals. He just wins. He's good. I played for 19 seasons, was always good. I mean, was able to step back when he needed to do it. He was, monster in college, monster part of the Twin Towers. Such a good Spurs team. Spurs dynasty. Kind of made that dynasty through this LeBron James era, was still able to get his and just be one of those top players.
He was the ultimate guy that could transform his game however needed, whether as a power forward with the Twin Towers or at center in the smaller ball era. When Tony Parker was going off against the Cavs for 30 a game, he's like, you know what, you do you. I will protect the rim and I will get my 20 and 10. You go get your 30. I don't need to score 40.
Randomly step outside to hit a game-winning three-pointer, and his only three-pointer at that point in time in his career.
Dirtiest mid-range, fundamentally as sound as it gets. The opposite of a Dwight Howard who is so physically gifted and just dominated. Tim Duncan's just like, I'm tall, but look at this game.
Then my game talk, I wear my big baggy pants
from Old Navy. He just had really good basketball skills and basketball IQ.
Another guy we were so fortunate to get to see in his prime, in his heyday through his whole career.
Absolutely. I love that pick. I like Duncan in the top 10. Probably one of the most disrespected athletes into how little he's ever been talked about in being one of the greatest.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, he made a dynasty during that Shaq and Lakers, Shaq and Kobe, LeBron. There are so many people that we talk about that played at the same time, and he won. still got rings.
Never missed the playoffs in his whole career. The ultimate. We talk about Bill Russell's the ultimate winner. Tim Duncan, that might be the ultimate winner too when you think about actual competition too.
Yeah.
I mean, Bill Russell beat he beat me basically back in the day. I mean, congratulations.
He beat those old guys we see at the Y that we talked about last episode.
We don't talk about those guys.
Well, okay, and then number 8, I got Hakeem Olajuwon. He had so many skills. I mean, what he could do in the post was just so dirty.
The dream.
One of the greatest centers of all time.
The dream. Enough said.
Yeah, the dream. Do you have any comments?
You know what, just the dream. I'll talk more about Hakeem because we'll probably talk about Hakeem a little bit later. We won't do too many comments, otherwise we'll get to do all the explaining on your list, and our list will just be 1 through 10.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I like the pick, but I think he's a little...
We're just going to go ahead, Devin, move on to your next one.
Yeah,
Kelsey's forbidden from talking from basketball right this moment.
Yeah. Number 7, the winner, Bill Russell.
Okay.
He played for 13 years in the NBA. He won 11 championships in those 13 years. He had to be on the list. It's insane. His competition wasn't great, but I mean, he still did play against Wilt Chamberlain.
He did also. He was a player coach for at least 1 or 2 of those too, I guess. I mean, do those count as? Does that count as 2 rings or just 1? Just curious,
Wow. Don't ask somebody from Alabama that question. They're going to tell you it counts as 7. Okay.
Wow, just let the Saban hate flow through you.
Sorry, it's the only chance I have to make a Saban joke or a Trump joke today.
The man just survived COVID-19, and now you're just. I say survived as if he was really in danger of it, but I digress.
But Bill Russell is just one of those guys that I thought he deserved it. He was a really interesting guy. I read a couple books on him, and I just thought, just what he did. 11 rings, 13 years, no one will ever do that again. That is literally impossible.
I don't see anyone getting close anytime soon.
Until you look at how his skill set was compared to the rest of the league.
Oh, dude. He was, one of the greatest defensive players, the greatest defensive player of that era. It was insane. He was bigger, not quicker. Wilt Chamberlain was a freak. Then number 6, I got Larry Bird. What he did with
a man after his heart itself.
Midwest's finest.
I feel like I got a lot of Midwest on my team right now.
Yeah.
And then I've got number 5, good old Shaquille. So real.
Okay, the big Aristotle. The most nicknames for an NBA player of all time, not even close.
Yeah. Not even close, yeah. Just for me, there was 4 years he was the most dominant player in basketball as a big man. Literally could not stop him.
I presume you're talking about those Lakers 4 years too, right?
I don't know. Those Celtics 4 years with people swimming on the ground were pretty great.
I'm talking about that Cleveland 4 years, man.
I don't know. That Suns 3-pointer he hit once.
He could barely make it up the court for the Suns.
God, I hit more people with my car than he has 3-pointers.
He hit more people in the front row than he hit 3-pointers.
12 threes career. He has more than another person on my list.
Oh, well, all right.
Okay, now I've got my Mount Rushmore of basketball, you could call.
Dun, dun, dun.
Number 4, I've got good old Magic Johnson.
Wait, Shaq was number 5?
Yeah.
Oh,
Shaq was 5.
Why aren't you listening?
I thought he was 6. I'm sorry.
I forgot. This is why you were banished from talking.
All right, my bad. So
now, I'm on my Mount Rushmore, my top 4. Magic, Johnson. Showtime.
Magic, Ned's magic. I mean, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. And then number 3, he's only made 1 3-pointer in his entire career. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
And it was a skyhook 3-pointer.
Yeah, probably was. I haven't checked the tape. But, and what he did, the skyhook, I mean, it is literally the most unblockable shot, ever. It's ridiculous.
Because he hasn't faced this defense by me yet.
I mean, when you're 7 foot tall to begin with, and then your skyhook is 7 feet extra tall because you jump 3 feet in the air and your arm's 3 feet long and your ball's another foot up. The dude's already at 15 feet. He has to just drop it.
It's like playing pong with your elbows way too damn far in.
Yeah, look, house rule, like elbow every time he throws it. I'm elbow, man. Anyway, sorry. I digress.
Little college PTSD over there.
Yeah. He could score just on just about anybody. I mean, he had the longevity. He played for 20 years. And then LeBron James. I feel like there was enough said in our last episode.
Yeah, we don't need to spend too much time on that one. I think we kind of locked that one down.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah. I want to hear more. No, I'm just kidding.
If you want to know more of my reasoning, you could watch the episode.
Yeah, see, he's got you. He's not taking...
Whoa, are you a professional podcaster, sir?
So I think we've found our new co-host to go along with DJ. We'll call this the DJ and Debbie Show, featuring Kelsey.
I'm going to sit with the dog then. Screw you guys.
Dog doesn't even want to sit with you.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I'm guessing that puts Michael at number 1, if I heard that correctly.
Yeah, Michael Jordan, number 1. Wizards Michael Jordan, to be exact, though. I want that 40-year-old on my team.
Oh yeah,
you're not talking Michael B. Jordan, right? Part of half of orange juice, get that fresh squeeze.
God, that was terrible.
Dude, you gotta have fresh squeeze, man. He was so good.
In case nobody knows what we're talking about, it's a 2K reference to Michael B. Jordan's character.
Yeah, that was awful, and I carried that son of a gun to the finals, so don't even talk about him as far on this top 10 list. I carried him.
One of the best actors in our day and age. Anyways, I digress.
That's true.
Something about the name Michael Jordan just makes you just literally emanates greatness.
Yeah, there's plenty of others that have not, but I get what you're saying.
All right, so since you guys always have the same list, DJ, I'm going to let you go ahead, give your top 10.
Well, Devin and I have never had the same list. You're talking about Brendan, who copies my list for football, but okay.
Look, at this point in time, I'm just going to assume everybody has the same list as you because I just never know.
People like to follow greatness.
Well, greatness or...
Great minds think alike.
Which is why no one thinks like you, good sir. Yeah,
I got nothing. You're right. Nobody does think like me because, well, I'm one and the same.
I'm going to go wash the blood off my hands right now after that one and continue on with this list.
Look, I got some aloe I'm rubbing on right now. It's a little painful.
So at number 10, I don't know if he's really the best player necessarily. I think there's plenty more players better than him, but his resume speaks for itself. I got Bill Russell. A lot of the same reasons Devin said. The greatest winner ever by when you look at his resume. 11 rings. One of the best defensive players. Even though he's only like 6'9", he's probably not guarding a lot of the centers we saw later in life. He's probably more Draymond Green than a lot of these other guys, but you can't really control much else. And when you get the results, you get the results. So giving him credit where credit is due for the results he got.
I mean, he was the tallest person in the league at the time, not named Will.
I mean, there was a few other guys that were like 7 feet. But
and the rest of them were all unathletic white guys who couldn't jump over a phone book.
Which is why he's barely cracking the top 10.
To me, he started as number 1 when he retired and then immediately started falling down the top 10.
Yeah, well, that's just your Celtic hate going through you, but okay.
Yeah, okay, that's also true.
Number 9, I have the big O Oscar Robertson, the true triple-double machine. One of the original point guards that made everybody better. Distributing, rebounding, mid-range shooting, attacking the basket. He could shoot before shooting was kind of cool if you think about it, because they didn't have the three-point shot early in his career. Yet he could still kind of stretch the floor with mid-range shots, turn around post-ups.
I mean, his mid-range shots were three-point shots.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, he stretched the court similar to what point guards do with three-pointers nowadays. He just did them in the mid-range. Number 8, often disrespected. Might even be disrespected here, but I got Tim Duncan at number 8. The quintessential winner of the 2000s. Like, you can kind of see a theme here so far. Great players are winning here. I think...
No.
Exactly my point. He's 6-2 in the finals, I believe. What was that?
So I feel like I'm hearing my list again.
No, there's a little bit of difference. I mean, you'd kind of flip the order around a little bit, but fair enough.
You got it wrong, is what he's saying.
You had the right pieces. You just didn't put the puzzle together. So basically, Tim Duncan.
I got a ship. You got a boat.
How about a yacht?
I'm gonna take my little dinghy out the other way, guys. See ya.
So, no DJ, no. Just keep it to yourself. Tim Duncan, 6-1, I believe, in the finals, if I'm not mistaken. The only loss was in 2013 to LeBron James in the Heat in 7 games, and that was the best LeBron James, in my opinion, in his career, arguably, as far as all-around game. Should have been the first unanimous MVP. Should have been Defensive Player of the Year. The whole enchilada. And Tim Duncan was a Bunny and a Ray Allen three-pointer away from winning a championship. I mean,
Bunny.
Oh, yeah, whatever. For basically being undefeated in the finals and probably catapults him up this list like 3 more spots. He was able to step back when needed and let Kawhi, I would say, take over. But he really didn't take over in that finals because it was just everybody destroyed the Heat that year. He was able to let Tony Parker step in. He's fantastic. There's not a whole lot you say. Never missed the playoffs. He's amazing. 7, the only guy that was arguably better than him during most of his tenure, in my opinion, was Kobe Bryant. They came in around the same time, absolutely dominant through their entire careers. I think Kobe was a little better. In my opinion, the best individual scorer of all time. I think
the disrespect
that he could do more than he could do everything that everyone else can do. Basically, there's obviously other guys you can make your opinion. There's guys are going to pass him, but he could shoot the 3 better than a lot of people that slash. His mid-range turnaround game was second to none. Do we forget about the dunk contest winning Kobe at 18 years old?
No, I'm saying you're disrespecting Kobe right now.
By saying he's one of the two, or one of the best. I have him as the best scorer of all time.
Oh, I mean, that's fine. You mean
having
7?
7? I mean, okay, well, we haven't even seen who's 7 yet, but okay, but.
I'm just saying, I mean, for a Kobe lover, that for 7 seems a little painful.
I just love greatness. I'm sorry. I don't
love Kobe that much, but you know what? I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
You hate Kobe.
I really did not like Kobe in his playing career.
And on top of that, he was one of the best defenders of the era as well, too. Not a whole lot much more needs to be said.
More will be said about Kobe.
Number 6, by the slimmest of margins, I gave Magic Johnson the edge. This one, he only really got the edge because he went to more finals, really. I have them basically tied dead equal, and I had to give a tiebreaker somewhere. Magic went to more finals, and he was basically the man from the get-go. I know James Worthy got a finals MVP later, but basically that first one with Magic, he scores 42 and Kareem's out, established it right away. Kobe, if it wasn't for Shaq being an unstoppable monster for 3 years, Kobe probably has another finals MVP or 2. He played well enough to earn them, really. It's hard when you're competing with one of the best finals performances ever, like in 2001 when Shaq averages 38, 18, and 6 blocks or whatever it was. And then you're just over there with your measly 28 points and 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Measly. You casual self over there, you role player.
Casual, number 8, Kobe Bryant.
I have him at 7, and I basically...
No, just his jersey number.
Oh, well, he had number 8, but okay.
That's what I said, number 8.
Oh, I thought you said 7 for some reason.
That's the number on your list. What are you doing to me here, guy?
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here because you keep interrupting me.
I'm sorry. I just can't believe the disrespect you're showing Kobe right now.
How dare I have him as a top 7 player of all time?
How dare you?
Number 5, I gave it to Larry Bird, another one by a slim margin over those other 2. He was one of the original scoring players that did it from the outside. He was kind of shooting before shooting was a thing as well. 3-point shots before anyone attempted more than 2 3-pointers a game. Mid-range shot, I mean, he walks in and I so who's taking second place? He called a shot, he pointed to the spot on the court and drained it. When he missed a shot, it was like, oh my God, is he sick? Does he have COVID 1987? Like, what?
1870. I knew Kareem was old, but damn.
I said Larry, not even Kareem.
Oh, sorry, Larry, my bad.
Clearly, we need to all stay on the same page here, but...
sorry, in my head, I'm thinking Kareem, my bad. You talk about Kareem and Magic and...
Basically, Larry's the 25-point-a-game guy, 10 rebounds as a small forward, too. In an era filled with centers and true power forwards, he still pulled 10 rebounds and 6-7 assists, and that doesn't even tell the story when you watch Larry Bird play. He has a passing gift that we talk about people like LeBron and Magic Johnson. Larry could do it, too. He just didn't do it as often because he wasn't a point guard or a primary ball handler. And I still think he was arguably not the best passer of that era because Magic Johnson, but...
He was pretty close. I mean, I just think about... him standing, getting a rebound, and just sitting here like, oh, wait, which hand am I going to pass it with? And just fooling the defense just because he's just smarter than everybody. Literally just, like, smarter than everybody else and quicker hands. Just like, where am I going?
Arguably the top 3 smartest player of all time. Just most crafty, arguably, too. Like, there's too many things he's arguably in that top 3 list of all time that I had to put him at number 5. Even though Magic Johnson's resume is probably...
smack talkers, too.
Probably the best smack talker, honestly. I mean, most creative, too.
Even as a GM, he's a great smack talker.
I know Magic had a slightly better resume. Same with Kobe, probably had a slightly better resume too. But I think when you factor in those other miscellaneous intangibles when we talk about this top 10 list, because all of these guys we talked about in the LeBron and Michael episode, they're all like 95 plus if we grade them out. So unless you don't have them on your top 10, which is just ridiculous, but I don't think we'll have to worry about that. So 4th. 3 and
You
2.
never know with me.
4, 3, and 2, I have them in very, very equal. So at number 4, I have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Same reasons Devin said, the all-time leading scorer for now. Skyhook, fantastic. Not a whole lot needs to be more said. Best offensive center we've ever seen, probably. Number 3, slightly ahead of him, I have Hakeem Olajuwon, the second best offensive center we've probably ever seen. The Dream Shake. He dominated the golden era of centers. Shaq, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, all of them even said he was the man. And he basically had 4 moves, and then he had 4 counters per move, as Shaq described it. And he's top 10 in blocks and steals as a center. And he's in the top 10-ish area for rebounds, if I'm not mistaken, too. He's the quintessential do-everything center. And basically when he got to the finals, he absolutely cooked Shaq, and he absolutely cooked Patrick Ewing. He would cook David Robinson. He beat the golden era of centers, basically. The only person he didn't really beat was Kareem. And when he was a pup in the early 80s and late Kareem and early Hakeem, they were pretty dead even, too, for the most part. So I'm giving Hakeem the edge over Kareem by a slight margin just because the second best offensive center probably and the second best defensive center behind Dikembe Mutombo. I think that warrants a little respect. Then LeBron and Michael, we already kind of talked about them specifically. Michael at 2, Michael at 1, LeBron at 2. So
wait, whoa. Can we rewind that? Can we go with what he first said?
Yes, so Michael at 1, LeBron at 2. Clearly, I just spoke a little ahead of myself, but clearly you're reaching because even you didn't believe yourself last week. But
Hey, whoa. My list hasn't changed.
I stand by what I said. So basically recapping, Michael at 1, LeBron at 2, Hakeem at 3, Kareem at 4, Larry at 5, Magic at 6, Kobe at 7, Tim Duncan at 8, Oscar at 9, Bill Russell at 10, and basically the honorable mention was I had Shaq as number 11. Only reason he really wasn't higher is he didn't have quite enough dominant years. He had a lot of really good years, but he had those 3 or 4 really dominant years that Devin mentioned where he was absolutely unstoppable. But then the rest of his career was kind of barred by underachievement a little bit, unfortunately. He could have had such a better career if he just took the game a little more seriously. So that's where I stand on it. Kelsey, you've been complaining about our list this whole time. Let's hear your absolute gold mine.
Yeah, let me tell you guys some facts here soon.
Oh, here we go.
And by facts, I mean some personal opinion, in which case I'm going to lead my way to believe it's facts because, well, hey, I'm just like the organization in charge today.
All right, whatever you say, Dan Gilbert.
Facts don't matter.
I apologize to everybody about what's about to happen.
So number 10, I think we all kind of agree this man is criminally underrated, and honestly, given the talent that he showed and how he spanned decades of talent, Tim Duncan. I mean, number 10. I felt bad putting him at number 10. I really did, but there's a reason I have him at number 10, and well, that's just because
you're criminally underrating him.
I figure I might as well keep up the theme with his career and just. He's the reason most of us even know about the U.S. Virgin Islands. So
basically, you're just going to try and stay on brand and keep him as OG.
And also, most of us even know about Wake Forest University having a basketball team is because of Tim Duncan.
Chris Paul went to Wake Forest University, but okay.
Nobody needs to know.
Everybody already knows, but go ahead and continue.
Number 9.
Jim Duncan also does custom cars now.
See, he gets it.
Wow, all right. That's actually,
That's actually super dope.
You might have to up him on your list a little bit, sir.
I might have to change my list right now.
Okay, so that's number 9. Who's number 10 for you now?
Still number 10 is Tim Duncan. Number 9 is a guy who is still playing. Devin, you mentioned him earlier as your honorable mention. Steph, just what he's done to the game today.
You will refer to him as Chef from now on, though.
I'll refer to him as Aisha if I have to. That's
an upgrade.
He's always cooking, man. Chef Curry.
At this point, man, what the dude has done to the game in his short time in the league is outstanding. I mean, it was never so 3-point focused, and then he comes in, and once he gets out of Mark Jackson's regime out of these health injuries, starts playing more with his hips and less with his ankles. You just saw a revolution in his game that was second to none, and quite literally led I don't know if they still can be considered a dynasty, but I mean, the pieces are still there in Golden State, and it's just waiting to take advantage of a non-COVID year at this point.
I will say shout out to Klay Thompson and Steve Kerr who helped along.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
And Kevin Durant for
and even Draymond, who I hate a ton.
Durant.
But yeah, no, I just think his shooting alone is just. I mean, you mentioned Bird shooting threes before people shot threes and calling his shot. Steph has quite literally.
He's made screw it, just chuck him up. Basically,
he's made logo shots a thing nowadays that people try because. Why not? Dame doesn't shoot that logo 3-pointer to knock out the Thunder in the playoffs. I don't think if Curry isn't already in the league shooting logo threes to make it a precedence.
It's possible. I do know he said, I just need to expand my range because he was sick of Drew Holiday pestering the year before. So
Yeah, I mean,
maybe he does still figure it out, too. Because he's like, you know what, Drew, if you're going to play this much defense, I'm just going to pull up where you can't touch me.
But it just goes to show, I mean, the three-point has just become an evolution in the game to the point where, you know, it's number one shot for most people. A contested three is a better shot than a mid-range three for some teams.
It unfortunately, yeah, and it kind of makes the basketball game hard to watch. I will say, if Steph had like just one of those Finals MVPs was his, I think that would help his list a lot. It just like he has the regular season MVP awards, he has the first unanimous, which it shouldn't be the first unanimous. We all kind of agree.
Yeah, I mean,
he has an insane resume. I couldn't put him. I'm not really disagreeing with anything he said. I'm just saying I couldn't put him higher than those guys because when the Finals were there, he's had other guys kind of take the mantle as the MVP from him. And then when you're up losing a 3-1 series in the Finals, that has to count against you. The only team to do it, and you're the guy.
Yeah, and I'll say the one thing that I think the one thing that hurts Steph the most, he definitely had underperformance, but the lack of defense as well. Like not so much that he can't play defense, but that he is not required to play defense on these guys. Like I'm not going to go ask him to go play defense on Russ because I know what's going to happen, and it's because of his ankles. You know, it's because of the injury history. He definitely can't guard these guys. But I do think that he's one of those guys that, you know, he benefits from the system around him. I mean, I do say once he got out of the Mark Jackson regime, who just said, hey, match up with who you got on the other side.
Isolation, basically. Isolation.
Once he got out of that regime and the Steve Kerr regime came in and they kind of revolutionized the game of their dribble handoffs and things like that.
Moving without the ball, which Steph is top 2 all-time player to move without the ball.
And then on top of that, having Clay across from him who...
Clay does everything that they don't want Steph to do.
Yeah, and Draymond, I mean, God, he can cover the number 2 threat on the team. Yeah. So,
sorry, Devin, you're saying something.
Oh, no, I was just talking about Curry's handle, man. He's got
one of the top 2 handles in the league. Yeah.
And it's crazy because it's something that's improved with the years in the league. Like he first started out, it was very simple game from him, you know, very crossover friendly. Now you're talking about crossover behind the back, step back, 3-pointer.
Slash throws it behind the back out of bounds in the finals.
Yeah, like you name it, the dude can do it at this point, and it's kind of reckless, but it's fun to watch.
It's hard. He has so many great accolades. At the same time, when you're top 10, I have trouble putting him there because you can't be like, go check Dame Lillard who's going off, help us with that, and he can't do that. If anything, Dame's going to go more off on him, more or less. All the other guys in our top list, if someone else on their team's going off, you could send these guys to check him. More or less.
Yeah, no, I mean...
That's the one thing that hurt me is obviously Steph's a top 20, 30 player all time. This is just why I don't have him in the top 10, basically.
And that's just it. Like, he's one of those guys that falls into the category of, do you like shooters or not? And this is, like, not just shooters, but, like, 3-point specialist shooters to the level that he is.
He deserves to be up here because he is the greatest all time at a certain skill. Clearly the best 3-point shooter we've ever seen. I don't think that's really a debate amongst most people.
Yeah, not even close, I think.
But at the same time, I just look at those other things. That's why I don't have him up there. I agree with you guys that he deserves to be up here, but at the same time,
I think it's the way he's improved his game as well. Like, I don't get me wrong, I love Ray Allen. I think he was one of the greatest shooters to ever play the game. But I wouldn't have never put Ray Allen in a top 10 list because he never really changed the game. You know, it wasn't like
he was an off-ball shooter. Yeah. Steph has also managed to become an on-ball shooter as well as one of the best off-ball shooters.
Exactly,
the ability to get his own shot as a 3-point shooter is what made it different. And I agree with you. Like I said, I'm not really arguing with him. I'm saying why I didn't have him since you both more or less did. Yeah,
and that's just it. That's why I put him. Honestly, it really did come down to him and Big O right here. I love Oscar Robertson. I loved his game because he was a natural point getter. If he didn't get all his stats weren't forced. Like when Russell averaged a triple double.
Your eye test showed you how he got the triple.
Yeah, we know he stat padded a couple of those games. Especially those rebounds. Steven Adams. Don't let him get that rebound.
Especially those assists, too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at that, and Big O deserves at least a mention on my list. He's not there, and that's just because it came down to Steph and revolutionizing the game versus what Oscar Robertson did in his time, and it's just like...
I think if Steph had a Finals MVP, I have him a lot higher, too. There's certain check marks for the top 10 for me, like we talked about the GO.A.T. thing, too. So, love Steph. If he never plays again, he's
I almost put Steph on there. Was like growing up, everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be like Mike." Now, when you're watching people are shooting threes. More people are trying to have their games be like Steph Curry's, which I think has been a reason why he was closer to that top 10 for me. Is just outside of NBA how he's changed basketball.
I will say, too, like, growing up when we threw pieces of paper in the garbage, we yelled Kobe. Now you're hearing people say Curry and that sort of thing, too. So
I mean, we all still say Kobe if we know.
That's because we're grown. But, like, these
you're exactly right.
years. But anyway, go ahead. That's enough, Steph.
Well, and I'll throw one more thing in with Steph, because you mentioned off the game how he's revolutionized the game. And I think the one big contribution he's made, we talked about MJ's shoes and LeBron's shoe sales and kind of part of why they're GOATs, as that's part of the influence.
Well, for you, yeah.
I mean, Steph is a guy who brought a brand that is not known for basketball and made it a shoe. Granted, there was that, nurse's basketball shoe that became a thing, but it helped to improve the incomplete market of a shoe company that really nobody had bought in Under Armour, and especially not for basketball. And he's made Under Armour a top 3 basketball shoe now.
They have fallen off a little bit since that MVP season when he really, like, those Curry 2s and 3s and 1-2s and 3s really blew things out. Since then, it's calmed down a little bit, but like I said, he's kind of like what Allen Iverson did with, like, Reebok and Adidas and that sort of time. Like,
exactly the same thing. Like, he's brought them. They're above Adidas. They're behind only Jordan and LeBron's. Well, and Nikes, I should say.
I think Adidas has caught back up recently, but it's still a conversation.
It's close.
I think with, like, the Dames and the Hardens, there's just more to choose from with Adidas. So I think Adidas has passed, but. Like I said, the fact that Under Armour's in the conversation when they were a football brand, they still
started in their garage in '96, so we're
and they're quintessential with football, basically. Like, that's been their MO since they started.
So I mean, there's a lot about Steph that I love, but I had to stick him at 9 and not higher because, like we mentioned before, with many of these players, they're still playing in their contracts, or they're not contract, but their resume is unfinished. Yeah. So. There's a lot to still be gained on this list from him, but I don't know how much further he'll move. But
I will say my hot take on this is, out of those teams, I'd put Kevin Durant ahead of Steph Curry all time personally. That's another list. We'll do top 50 some other time when we include. All right. That's just anyway. Go ahead. We spent enough time talking about your number 9 player.
Hey, look, I had to get it in there. Probably one of the more controversial guys, but no, number 8, Shaq. You guys mentioned his 4 dominant years in LA.
4 dominant years, 18 dominant nicknames.
I do also want to say. He was a problem for MJ and those Bulls when he was with the Magic. I mean, it wasn't an easy, hey, we can just go get these 2 rooks and get them out of the game real quick. It wasn't an easy win for the Bulls in the Eastern Conference.
Well, his rookie years when they actually beat because that was when MJ came back.
Wasn't that their second year?
No, that was the year that they went to the finals.
That's right. Because the next year the Bulls Horace Grant flipped the other way,
and then the next year the Bulls swept him.
Yeah, when Horace Grant went the other way. Yeah, and that's I always forget which way.
I get what you're saying though. Like, Shaq basically just walked in. They're like, all right, I'm a dominant force of nature against everyone besides Hakeem.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just it. Shaq is. I mean, we talk about Dwight Howard's freakish abilities. Shaq was that first freak.
He was incredibly massive and athletic, especially with those early years. And if he didn't get fat, he's probably the GOAT in that conversation as a GOAT. And probably has more rings, too.
And they talked about it in, when they did the special on the Magic where, Penny and Shaq and how they did an interview with MJ about, matching up with Shaq one-on-one in these games, like, in All-Star games and stuff. And he's like, yeah, when he was younger, he was great. And then he got fat. And it's like, that just sums up Shaq's career. Is when he got fat, he became the most dominant center, but he was no longer that freakish athlete that could just completely dominate a game.
I still say he was pretty athletic with the Lakers when he was that dominant. He was getting fat. Like, he had put on 20 pounds and just wasn't flying. Like,
he wasn't.
But then when he gets fat with the Heat and so on, then it's like, God damn it, just 1 Big Mac, not 4.
Yeah.
And then you probably have 3 more rings and a couple more MVPs.
And I think if you get in shape, if you see in shape Shaq throughout his career, I think his time in Miami, I think, isn't just one title.
I don't think he goes to Miami if he stays there.
That's true.
Because I think part of the reason was he got fat is why him and Kobe's rift started. And they don't lose that series to the Pistons if you get that 2001 prime flexing Shaq.
Yeah, and that Kobe is a different monster that I will get into here shortly. And
anyway, we'll get moving.
Yeah, we'll get moving through that. So number 7, I couldn't decide where to put these 2.
Oh, so now you get a top 11 list.
I'm changing the rules, boys. Here we go. I put these 2 together because literally without either side of this, you don't have either one of these players where they are. But they're both top in very important statistics. Number 1 in assists, number 1 in steals. Never going to be passed. I think it's safe to say. John Stockton, not going to ever pass those statistics because he had a guy named the Mailman delivering these little layups and dunks on the other end of the court every time that Stockton had an outlet.
I'd like to change my list. At number 10, I'd like Steph Curry and Kevin Durant, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Can I change it? Can I change it, guys?
I'll mail it to you.
I would like Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen at 1 and LeBron and Wade at 2, please, with the side of Anthony Davis.
I never said that you couldn't choose a duo.
It is the top 10 players, not the top 10 whatever I can muster up in my head. I'm calling it Karl Malone as your 7th. Moving on to number 6.
No, man, seriously, I think this is more Stockton than it is Malone, really.
And number 6 is Stockton is probably the second best point guard ever, if I had to guess, depending on how the rest of your list is going to go.
No, you like, the rest of my list needs to stay where they are. This is why I had this problem.
Nope, number 6 is Stockton. Moving on.
Oscar Robertson is the 4th best point guard in the NBA?
No. Oscar Robertson would be the 3rd best point guard.
Well, Stockton,
But you got
Steph,
Stockton,
and Oscar.
Don't you have one person?
Curry.
I thought you had one person ahead of these guys. You said that was a point guard.
I mean, okay, yeah, I guess he's technically a point guard, but he's not a point guard.
Though, let's get through your list.
We'll get to him in a minute. Okay, let me finish this Stockton and Malone comment.
No, Stockton is 7. Moving on.
No, Stockton and Malone, they deserve it. What they both did together, they were literally only beat by the GOAT, one of the GOATs, depending on which side of the argument you fall under.
Oh, wait, hold on. See, miss me with your ish over there.
He was only defeated by MJ, okay? Like, these guys would be on a different level if it wasn't for MJ. I think we can all agree that they would have at least 2 titles if MJ isn't involved.
I'd like to change my answer to if Dwayne Wade had fully functioning knees, the Heat would have 6 titles, and then LeBron and Wade would each be GOATs as it is. But fine, moving on from your cheating of the system again.
All right, so number 7, Stockton Malone.
I do.
Oh, go ahead. No.
I like that pick. I think those two are, like, in my opinion, greatest NBA players to never have a ring. And that was one of the reasons I kept them off my list, is that never winning a chip is really, really hard. With all these guys that have chips, it's hard for me to be like, oh, yeah, let's put them on.
If we had we were doing top duos of all time, this wouldn't be so bad. But considering it's top players and you tried to mold 2 people into one that aren't even relatively similarly built.
They don't need to be molded. They had the same brain. Are you kidding me? Like,
no, they didn't, because Karl Malone's brain is not safe for humankind outside of basketball, and that has been proven.
Okay,
and John Stockton is a leader and a man amongst men.
Kind of a dick, too, but yeah, not the point.
A little bit of a dick compared to Karl Malone.
Look, okay, just because one's a Trump Stein and one's a dick doesn't mean actually they are exactly the same. Look at that.
Even a little bit.
So, anyways,
Karl Malone skeletons are. That's not just a closet full of skeletons. That's a Brinks truck.
Just because he kills people doesn't mean anything, man. All right, Louisiana people do things differently. We just don't judge them.
Your Utah bias is out of control.
As a Kings fan, this is the ultimate thing I can do to show respect to an athlete. And this is why I say you disrespected Kobe, because I'll get to him in a minute. And I hated that man. Anyways.
It's going to be Kobe, Shaq. Who else we put in with Kobe?
I think we could throw Pau Gasol. I think we could do Pau Gasol and early Lamar Odom, too.
I hate you guys.
You started this.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good player.
That's a heck of a player. I mean, could you imagine Steph, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green? That's got to be top 5.
Neither one.
Dude, that might be GOAT, man. That's good.
Neither one was top number 1 at steals and assists, and then the other one was top 2 in points in his career when he retired.
So we could just combine.
Look, man, I'm just saying, like, you can't have one without the other. It's like eating an ice cream without a cone.
All right, well, I'll put Kareem and Magic together since Kareem's the all-time scorer.
Have you never had ice cream in a cup?
It's like eating ice cream without a cup. You can't just take the ice cream and not eat it. You can't. It's just the ice cream at that point. You have to have some instrument to get the ice cream to your mouth.
Have you ever seen Encino Man? You can eat that ish right out of the machine, and that's still not going to change the taste of it. You're just going to get a lot of judgment.
Damn it. Okay,
moving on, because this is getting ridiculous.
You guys are killing me here. Anyways,
you're killing our viewer.
Our viewers are gonna love this ish.
All 2 of them are upset with you right now.
Look,
Go
man.
on. Moving forward. No, keep going.
Number 6, Larry Legend. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything more than DJ said about him. He's just
that
Larry Legend.
Just that dude.
Number 5, I do have Magic ahead of Larry. Just personal opinion. I like that all-around ability that Magic showed.
Tomato.
Yeah, apples, oranges. In this case, 5A, 5B.
I have nothing to argue. I have basically the same reasoning.
All right. Number 4, Kareem. Yes, skyhook, ungodly amounts of ability. Just good luck stopping the man. Number 3. Kobe being Bryant. Because, well, greatest scorer all time, greatest Laker, who is the greatest. Lakers are the greatest franchise at this point.
We agree with you on this one. He is the greatest Laker of all time.
So, in my opinion, Kobe being Bryant, number 3, best scorer all time. The man was I don't know. He was the best of MJ mixed with the best of what I see from LeBron.
I will say what I would have liked to have Kobe higher is he needed some more regular season MVPs, even though we all know he got shafted out of one of them for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I think if he could add 2, maybe 3, just the way these lists in the NBA works, that would help. And you needed another finals MVP. 2 without Shaq is great, but it'd be nice if you could get 3 just so you could have 3 with and 3 without him. Sucks when we talked about Shaq being so freaking dumb. You joked about you adding Stockton and Malone together to make a go list.
Yeah, I mean,
we put Kobe and Shaq together. It's not even close.
No, yeah, they're number 1. Yeah, easy.
And it's not even fun to talk about.
No, and that's just it. I mean, I literally look at this, and to me, Kobe is second only to MJ in the ultimate competition guy. Like, he's the guy that would go out in an All-Star game just to embarrass the other All-Stars to prove that he is the best All-Star. I am that guy. Get out of my way.
He says, you know what, LeBron, I know you're going to shoot it when you go left because you always do. I'm going to block that shot. When you go right, I'm going to pick your pockets.
Yeah, and he's the only guy I've seen actually really compete in an All-Star game the level he competes. It's like to him, it's like a regular season game.
I will say Giannis has did a little bit of that in his last one too. But
I watched Giannis jump over a lane down Steph Curry to dunk a basketball.
To be fair, we all kind of want to jump over
To be fair, it doesn't matter if Steph Curry was laying down or standing up. He's the same height.
By Giannis' standards, it's the same speed bump.
So, I mean, one way or the other, Giannis is going to dunk the ball. It was just either going to be leaning or standing straight up.
There will be no Kobe slander here. We agree. I like him. He's on this top 10 list for all of us. No ifs, ands, or buts. You put a little more. More into it because the greatest Lakers in the end is what kind of sounds like it stood out for you.
Yeah, for me, I mean, he was just you think Lakers, and I can't think of a better person to personify Lakers other than Kobe. I mean, you're talking about a guy who wore 2 numbers, and during the duration of both numbers,
he had 2 separate Hall of Fame careers.
Yeah, exactly. They're 2. I mean, you take those apart. That's 2 players in the Hall of Fame that you just are like, oh fuck, that by themselves would probably be top 20 players.
And we're not going to have any negative on Kobe. Kareem, reason he's ahead of him for me is that includes his Bucks years.
Okay, all right.
And Magic, I love Magic. I think he's a slightly better player, but as far as greatness with the Lakers, that's where Kobe's the greatest Laker. You and I agree on that one.
Yeah, and you know.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Kobe, greatest Laker. And one of my biggest things with Kobe that I'm always super interesting about is how much he changed his game. When he was number 8, a lot of dunks, a lot of stuff, and then 24, he started shooting threes, making a lot of threes, and had changed his game to work better with the players that were around him, and just he was a monster.
Yeah. I'll say number 8 was so fun, so athletically gifted, so dominant. Number 24 is the best scorer we've ever seen, in my humble opinion. I think early 24. I think 8, early 24.
24 is the most ruthless player we've ever seen, too. I think he would just take advantage of any little minute thing. He would beat that until you fixed it. And that's just it. Number 8 was a lot more, I could kind of beat you with my athleticism.
We talked about this in our G.O.A.T episode, the way MJ was a teammate where that couldn't really get away in today's game. We kind of saw that with Kobe a little bit, unfortunately, too. When they try to recruit free agents, he's coming dripping in sweat, do you want to win or what? And then people are like, well, no, you're hurting my sensitive feelings. And then Kobe's like, I don't need your feelings. I'm going to go catch this title without you. I'm going to get 16 rebounds in Game 7 against the damn Celtics.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to tear my Achilles and rip it in half and then go hit the free throws and then tell them, no, I'm good. I don't want to come out. And he's literally forced to come out and have a ruptured Achilles taken care of.
In a season that he was averaging 29 points and shooting, I think it was 48%, which was his highest because he's a high-volume shooter. You're not going to shoot a high percentage on that one. So
yeah.
That was arguably one of his best seasons ever, too. In year 14, 15, it was one of his latest. And if it wasn't for that Achilles rupture, he's probably in this GOAT conversation, honestly, because that team still made the playoffs after. They probably might not win another ring, but you never know with Kobe. That's the thing, you just never know.
Yeah. With Kobe, we talked about it in our GOAT episode with LeBron and how he elevates his teammates to another level. Kobe's competitiveness, in much the way LeBron, MJ was a competitor, but in a different fashion, Kobe was able to rub his competitiveness off on his teammates, but in a still aggressive manner. It's the craziest thing that if you can combine what LeBron does to his teammates and what MJ did to his teammates, you get Kobe.
For better and for worse. Unfortunately, I think he took a little more of the negatives from both of them as well, too. if you didn't have a little dog inside you, you weren't going to work with Kobe, which is what we saw with a lot of players I won't really. But you look at Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol's a gangster. Those two are bros. I mean.
Oh, Pau Gasol is. I mean, you see it now. I mean, after everything that happened with the passing away of Kobe and Gianna, and now Pau's there taking care of the children.
And his daughter's middle name is Gianna now too, if I'm not mistaken. His most recent one. Like you see, and Andrew Bynum, when Andrew Bynum was still hungry and not breaking his knees in cars and stuff. Lamar Odom, when Lamar Odom, as we can tell, is not always the most 100%. Sometimes he has his own demons, but Kobe's able to bring him with better world peace. I mean, just better. No, what more do I need to say about better world peace? I mean,
yeah, the dude. I mean, and he caught Ron Artest at that weird time between Ron Artest and Meta.
Exactly. and had him hit arguably a walk-off shot in the finals to help them win. Yeah,
and a guy that, by the way, Ron Artest was going down from being a superstar with the Kings down to a role player at that point in time in his career, where he was just kind of like, yeah, I'm just here playing defense.
You gave him hungry Shaq, and I don't mean like literally hungry. I meant hungry for chips and dominance, not hungry for Big Macs. And look what they accomplished. Like, if you give Kobe some dogs,
Shaq's always hungry for chips.
Exactly. Like, if you give Kobe some dogs,
Sun chips don't count.
Kobe can transform dogs into world champions. Yeah. He just can't transform everyday regular players into the finals like LeBron could do with a generic shooter. Kobe's gonna be like, nah, I got this. You just stay over there. You don't want this.
If Kobe had a little bit of, I'll say compassion, maybe was a way to put it, empathy when it came to the basketball player. I think him and Dwight Howard would have worked out a lot better. But I think Steve Nash coming over at the same time kind of hurt because Steve Nash was still a dog, but
he was broken.
He was the broken dog. Like, you couldn't really fix him at that point because he was just so injured.
He had a shattered spine basically, and then Dwight Howard had a shattered everything. Like, it was him and Pau Gasol still, just with less pieces around him and older. Yeah. Which is why Kobe was looking so good. He's like, I'll do this. I don't need you guys.
Exactly. So that's why I have Kobe at number 3. I mean, I think we could do a whole episode on Kobe alone, and I'm pretty sure we have.
I think this is a Kobe and Steph episode. So let's just get going because I think we're starting to take a little too much time here.
So yeah, and number 2, obviously, you got LeBron. Number 1, MJ. I don't think we need to say much more about that. So I think for all of us, Did I say that right? Did I say number 2 LeBron, number 1 MJ?
Yeah, you spoke with your heart on that one. So
God, you know what? We'll just leave it because at this point, like I said, if we're just going purely off of basketball,
okay, we're
51-49.
Anyway, so there's the top 10 list. A lot of similar players, but a little bit of variety here. Some of us have a top 11 list, whatever you want to say about it, but.
Really, we're gonna go there?
It's blatantly obvious. It took literally 1/8 of this episode just to figure out what that was.
You know what? It added some flavor. I'm here to provide flavor in your guys' lives.
I'm so sorry to everybody who had to hear this. Devin, do you have any last words before we completely end this abomination?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm gonna talk about another 11th player. Look at that. I'm gonna be like everybody else. No. Wilt Chamberlain. He wasn't on my list, but like at least I hear a lot about like older players wouldn't say they're not as athletic enough. And one of the things like with Wilt Chamberlain is that the man had a 48-inch vertical.
And he was a sprinting champion. Like, Wilt can just be a freak in any era whatsoever just by jumping over. He'd be DeAndre Jordan at worst in today's. Like, his absolute floor would be DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah. So,
he's just such a freak. And he's one of those few players from way back, Bill Russell. Like, I would want to see Bill Russell play in today's game. I want to see Wilt Chamberlain play in today's game with his athletic ability. That would be that made my top 10 list, but he's one of those that was there, and really but athletic ability is insane.
He's pretty freaky. I'd agree with you. That could be pretty cool. But that probably does it for this episode. This has been a fun one. We got plenty more. Thank you guys for joining us again too. This was a fun one.
Absolutely, yeah. And as always, join us every Thursday on the Unhinged Network. And if you have any questions, be sure to hit up our social media accounts. We're always available, always answer back. But until next time, guys, thank you.